Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Talk about its people, the diversity that makes Kenya be unique to what it is, and some of the white sandy beaches. Diani voted as the best. Gotta love it, gotta love it. But let's go to the proverb. Money made from lies has an end in Swahili. Pesa za uongo zina mwisho. How would you interpret it? It comes from the Coastarian people where I experienced the white sandy beaches. Etale, how would you interpret it?
Money made from what?
Lies has an end.
It's true. I can't agree more.
You just agree. How would you interpret
Now
it?
you can interpret after agreeing.
The way Waswahili say that pesa ambazo zinatokana kwa uongo zina mwisho wake. It's true, because if you don't work hard for anything, everything is just vanity. Because you cannot brag of money that you've not worked hard for. So it ends up not helping you, any one of us.
Zona, how would you interpret it?
Well, I think that is a true reflection of our regime, our government's regime, because they left, right, and center, day in, day out, how they misuse, they handle money, how they touch money, and it's a reflection of the leadership of this country. How it makes sense for Parliament to prioritize State House budgets year in, year out, and the State House controller is in Bunge saying, add us more money made out of lies. This week, as we commemorate June 25th, it's a reflection of why the young people went to the streets, because of how government is handling public funds and how they continuously go on to just lie to Kenyans, mistreat us by, misusing public funds and so forth. And even what we are discussing today, ODM, pesa ambayo wameshika ya Kasongo, ndio imewafikisha kwenye tumefika now that we have two splitter groups, Linda Tumbo and Linda Mwananchi. And so, we are literally in the middle of that conversation of what money made out of lies have brought us as a country. That is my interpretation, of course.
Indeed.
Kinda.
Okay, you're happy? Sawa. And maybe we can then start off with you, Philip. Is that the last couple of days, the day before yesterday, of course, we heard that, the ODM party was essentially removing, officially now, Secretary General, Senator Edwin Sifuna. The current Secretary General, the interim Secretary General, or I don't know, you will help us with what term we're actually using, then was in a presser yesterday where she said that he'd been removed and, everything is going back and we're just going to continue moving on as a party. Is that the case?
Yeah, it is the case. Actually, it's not just the decision that was made by the NEC. It's a process. It's been a long, protracted process that has been going on for quite some time. And, I'll just give you a short chronology of events, of what transpired up to the day before yesterday when the decision was made. Remember, the first time this decision was made was sometime in January.
Yes.
Then the Senator Sifuna moved to court to stop any proceedings that will lead to his ouster from the position. Then the PPDT, the Political Parties Disputes Tribunal, made a ruling on the 26th of March, which said that this matter should be handled internally.
Yes.
Because the issues that were being raised would not be handled by the PPDT before they were exhausted through the internal dispute mechanisms, resolution mechanisms of the party. This was initiated as per the directives of the PPDT. No sooner had it started that disciplinary action than Senator Sifuna moved back to the PPDT, saying that he's not comfortable appearing before the disciplinary team that was going to probe him and also make a decision, whether positive or negative. He ran faster than he could. So the PPDT threw it back to the party again, to the party, and the IDR C made that decision that, he failed to appear. He sent his lawyer, senior counsel Omoro, to go before that committee and say that his client would not be appearing because he foresaw bias among some members of this committee. So the decision was made ex parte, and it was bound to be taken in by the NEC, because this is something that happens in other jurisdictions, even in other political parties. We've had UDA ousting their SG, and nobody has made noise. Every political party has their way of doing things, and it's bound by law to take action against any member that doesn't propagate the party ideology, that doesn't speak to the party policy, and is traversing across the country talking about things that do not resonate with the resolutions of the party. Every political party, a political party is like a members club. You have to be duty bound to the policies and the ideology and the rules of that particular club. So the decision that was made by the NEC was long overdue. And indeed, I always say, in life, there are choices. You choose one. If you make a position, if you take a position on a particular matter, then you stick by that particular issue. I remember very well, some of these politicians or activists moving around are now trying to say that they're doing so in the spirit of the late Raila Amolo Odinga, And, Raila was a principled person. Raila would not sit and see things happen, or if he was uncomfortable with anything, he would just say no, and no was no to him. I remember when I was a small boy, back in the 90s, when he quit Ford Kenya, because he could not agree with what was happening in the Fort Kenya, and went and even resigned from his political seat, parliamentary seat, the Langata parliamentary seat, went to start a new political party, went back to the people and reclaimed his seat, So I think principles also make a man. If you are not principled, then I don't think you're headed anywhere. So the decision by the party was made, but it's not cast in stone, because I've read in some of the dailies in the media that Senator Sifuna is moving back to court to try and challenge that decision. It's within his democratic space to do it. And he will do it, and the party will have their say. Whatever decision that the PPDT will make, the party will abide with.
Okay, so where we are at the moment is that the DT will actually still have a position in this, because the Senator Sifuna has made it very clear that he is going to appeal this because he was not given an opportunity to be heard.
I think if you listened to the chairman of the
tribunal,
the tribunal, he said that the senator was invited to appear before the committee, but he failed to appear, and instead he sent his counsel to go and represent him with only one word, that my client will not appear. Reason being, he was uncomfortable with some members of the committee. But you don't choose whom to appear before. You see, if a committee has been formed, a tribunal has been formed to probe a particular matter, you just appear. Just say whatever you think is not right, argue a case, it will be listened to, and you will be given a fair hearing. But he failed to appear. I'm not faulting him, because maybe he had his own reservations.
Right.
But I would say it would have been prudent for him to appear before the tribunal and argue his case like he has been doing in the court of public opinion, out there with cheerleaders like my sister here.
I'm not a cheerleader, I'm a leader, but...
No.
Not of the cheering variety.
Yes. You don't just show up and cheer,
So,
please.
yeah, we know.
You're my uncle, so respect.
So, what I'm trying to say is he ought to have appeared before the tribunal and argued his case, made up his point, and perhaps it would have been considered. But failure to appear gave the tribunal the opportunity to give the verdict and the determination that they did.
I mean, one would ask the question then, perhaps is when you could chime in
Yes,
on it.
please.
And here is a point where it is normal practice that an individual would equally just ask even a judge to recuse themselves because they're not comfortable with it. It's common practice that if you are uncomfortable with a certain judge hearing your matter and you state your reasons, perhaps, it is hard and a decision is made onto that. But that notwithstanding, then you look at the reasons as to why Sifuna has been ousted from the party. It's because it is said he operated outside the party regulations and what the party stands for. But he has consistently maintained that he speaks that which Raila Odinga said, like at a hotel in Nairobi, who told you that ODM would not have a presidential candidate in there. And even at the time, Raila Odinga himself in a meeting in Kakamega said when Sifuna speaks, he speaks for the party.
Yes.
So when we look at the disciplinary, now that the late Raila Odinga now is not there, what really is happening? Because you're also in close contact with Sifuna. What does he say are the reasons as to why he is being ousted from
I also
the
took the liberty of reading the ODM constitution because it would be quite unfair to engage in such a conversation without reading that document. And I must say the drafters of that constitution probably did it because they may have foreseen what was going to happen in these recent times. Sifuna does not have a problem with being removed as the SG of the party. He has been consistent enough to say, can it be done within the laws and the constitution guidelines of ODM and the constitution? Article 7, sub-article 2 of the ODM constitution says two things. The supremacy of the party members should always be adhered to. And number two, the constitution, our Kenyan constitution, should be considered in matters of all party members. Some article also guides on how an SD should be removed, and they should be removed through an NDC. And the current NEC is not properly constituted. There was no NDC that was done by the ODM party to put Oburu Odinga as the party leader and some more members of the the NEC officials. And so Sifuna is always questioning, who told you have authority to remove me as the SG and you are illegally holding specific party positions? And the constitution of ODM has given very clear guidelines. As Linda Mwananchi, and one of our biggest manifesto, and we will continue to gear people towards what we keep telling them, we have a software problem in this country. People have geared away from the rule of law so much. It is normalized that my uncle here, Philip, is keen to say that you can literally put UDA and ODM in the same pedestal, as if those two parties even have the same ideologies. But I wouldn't blame him because we also understand who is running the show in ODM.
Who?
It's the president of this country. I mean, many a times things have been said, even by their own people. And the only thing that is making Sifuna become a target by their other leaders is because he has refused to subscribe into the Ruto administration and the broad-based arrangement. He has said, and it's an ideological difference. It is not a violation of anything they can quote in the ODM constitution that he has done. If it is there, we would love to see that written on paper and let it be shared in the public. This is what the constitution says, the ODM constitution says, and this is how Sifuna misbehaved and violated the provision of the ODM constitution, and this then guarantees his removal as SG. But then again, we have to go back on how they are doing it. Sifuna has no problem being removed, but can you do it as per the guidelines of the ODM constitution and the constitution that guarantees his rights? And that is why he's confident enough to say, I will go back to the court because...
So there is an argument that even how Sifuna himself became the SG as well is pretty much through the same process that is ongoing right now, because Sifuna it is said, did not become an SG through an NDC. He was put in there by the NEC, then later an NDC took place.
Yes.
So if he got in through the same process we're seeing right now, what makes it wrong for any other person to get in the same way he did?
Have we gotten and then the scene did happen to Rita reinstate him as the SD? Has that happened? No, ODM have been very insistent to avoid that whole conversation, and other leaders in the ODM party, like Honorable Babu Owino, no, you can't, because I did not cut you off when you were talking. Honorable James Orengo, when they were, they have been keen to say, can you call for an NDC? We are willing to come and participate in that NDC. Let us make ODM, let us remind our members who ODM is, that our father, yes, died, but there are rules that he left. There's a whole software, journey and procedure that we are supposed to follow as a party to ensure we make all these changes that we want to make. And that is the simplest and most, genuine thing that Sifuna keeps pushing for. Can we do this right? I am okay to leave, but as long as you continue to unlawfully trying to arm twist whatever agendas you want to do, I will continue going to court. And he has all the time to do this.
Well, I think, personally, I feel like I should evoke the sub judice rule and refrain myself from the Sifuna proceedings. But I want to broaden the conversation and look at how our political parties behave and conduct themselves. ODM is not the first political party to be in squabbles, in a manner of speaking. I think we also, perhaps we all can recall, we had the Jubilee Party, where some... there was fragmentation. Some people wanted to take over the Jubilee Party. We also have seen the UDA party, the SG. Malala was the clear first of the SG. He was ousted out of office. So this will happen because discourse, differences of opinion should happen, actually, because I think political parties ought to be ideologically based. So if I do not subscribe to the rules and the norms, as you say, of the membership, of the ideology that the party is fronting, perhaps I should not be in that space. But my concern is that we take such discourse when they appear, and then we try to seek political expediency on them, forgetting that these parties are made up of membership. A membership that has, over the years, especially in the case of ODM, worked to try and form a government that would have served them based on the ideals of the late party leader. So when some decisions are made, whether by the Central Management Committee or the NEC or the NDC, that we rarely hear consultation from the members, we are left to wonder, as normal members of political parties, what is our space? Are we only useful when it comes to rallies, when it comes to voting, or when it comes to selecting and electing the leadership of the party or endorsing the decisions? Because even those who sit at the NDC and the NEC and the CMC, they are mere representatives of the actual members. What is the role of the actual members of the party? Because there seems to be that I'm going to nip and butt your roots or your horns because you're growing too fast, or you're deviating from what we stand for, or you're blocking our current interest that we are deriving from the existing coalitions that are being formed. How do we sanitize all this and secure the interest of the members of the parties so that we remain focused on the ideologies, like the way you say, Baba had ideals. Baba had a classic following that followed him through and through in his 20 years or more of his active politics. How do we sanitize this?
Let's not hornswoggle over this banter and try to lie to Kenyans that we know more than is written. The party constitution is clear, and I know it's a document that is in public domain that everyone can read, can access and read. And indeed, in that constitution, the party organs are given the mandate to make decisions. And the Honorable Sifuna has been a member of the Central Committee. There are decisions that have been made by the Central Committee which nobody ever disputed. And the same Central Committee continues to make decisions just like it had been doing it before. So it's nothing new. Every political party has their own constitution. And every political party is governed by the supreme law of this country. We have the Constitution of the land. We also have the Political Parties Act. And there are sections in the Political Parties Act that are very explicit on how members of a political party should behave. Now, coming to your question, how do we sanitize whatever is happening? You see, you stated clearly that they are members of the party. Everyone is a member. Any member of ODM party is a member of ODM party. But not every member of ODM party can be a delegate to the National Delegates Convention. Not every member of the ODM party can be a member of the NEC. And not every member of the NEC can be a member of the Central Committee. Neither can every member of the NGC be a member of the Central Management Committee. So, whatever decisions that are made by the Central Committee are taken down to the other organs of the party. The NEC, then after the NEC, we have the National Governing Council, then we have the National Delegates Convention. My sister here says there was no NDC that ratified the decisions that were made by the party. Indeed, on the 27th of March, we had a special National Delegates Convention. The Constitution says that a National Delegates Convention can only be held after every 5 years. And the 5 years' time will elapse in November, and then in December, we should have a National Delegates Convention. What we had was a special National Delegates Convention, which is also provided for in the party constitution. So for anyone to start running out there and say that there was no legal meeting that was held to ratify some decisions is trying to lie to Kenyans and play to the gallery. We should not be playing to the galleries now. Let us face facts. Whatever happened on the 27th of March was binding, and it is in the party constitution. It is provided for in black and white. So let us not build a mountain out of nothing. Let us be clear and stick to facts. Indeed, the SDC made that decision, and the NDC will be held towards the end of the year. That one is given. It will be held. So, and let me take you back. In that special National Delegates Convention, every member of the NDC was invited. They were invited, everybody, but some chose to skip it for their own obvious reasons. Perhaps they know why they skipped it. But had they appeared there and argued their case, there was time for anybody to speak and everyone to say, no, whatever decision you want to make against me is not right, I'm not comfortable about it. They refused to come.
And you curated, you made quorum for the SNDC, according to your provisions.
Yes, okay. There was quorum, and delegates travel from all corners of the country to come to Nairobi for that particular event. It was held, it was event-free, it ended well, and all the decisions that were made were binding.
Okay. All those things taken into consideration, and that the party issues back and forth doesn't stop some things that are continuing to move in terms of the people and their strengths. And we're on the eve of the commemoration of the protests 2024. And Linda Mwananchi actually did make a statement yesterday and said, you know what, regardless of what's going on with all of this, we're going to actually stop to take a moment and remember. And there's some fundamental real politic issues that are taking place here. We're going to take a break and come back and discuss those, because tomorrow is a big day.
Yes, it
whether
is.
you sit at home, whether you're out, it's a big day. We'll talk in a minute. We're talking with Abby Zwena and Philip Etale this morning. Quick break. We'll come back and continue with that. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
Today, well, we're going to stop all of our next activities because we are going to stand with the people of Kenya before we continue. What is the thought around this at the moment, especially when folks are saying protest but be careful?
Yes. And I think why we are saying protest but be careful is because we have seen how after the June 25th, the first major demonstration by the young people that came out to, like you've said, take up their mantle and remind the government that they, the people, have the power. And it was at a time when this current government demonstrated their tone-deaf aura towards the plight of the people, and the young people then, regardless of their tribe and ages, showed up to the streets to demonstrate against the then finance bill. Very important to note that all the leaders of Linda Mwananchi have always voted no to any bill that the people of Kenya have said we do not want this bill. These are the issues that we have around this bill. Can you speak out on our behalf? Can you vote no? And so it's very obvious for us to understand what the young people are still going through years later, owing to the fact that even on the first Maandamano, most of our leaders were notably very vocal about, supporting the young people. We had Babu Owino literally jump off the fence to join demonstrators, and he did join the Maandamano. Edwin Sifuna was out there literally fighting the police, trying to stand between bullets of the young people. And this is a day that reminds the young people how powerful they are, how also government attempted to scare them by killing their comrades. This is a day that young people saw death on the streets. They carried dead comrades and wrapped them in the Kenyan flag. This is a day we saw Denzel Washington Omondi's body days after the demonstration, lying down in a dam. You were going to view his body. It was so disfigured, you could barely recognize him. And he was a student in JKUAT. So this is a day that government communicated to young people that your voice doesn't matter, that any time you try to tell us something, we're going to silence you with bullets. And now they have turned those bullets into gunism. And we've seen the police very many times walking around with guns and disrupting even peaceful, engagements. The latest one being in All Saints Cathedral, where allegedly an elected member of parliament from Nairobi, from ODM, is suspected to have participated in sending guns into a church, where the church was literally just, exercising its civil responsibility and duty in engaging their members on the contents of the finance bill. And so when we say be careful, it's because we are very aware of how far this government is willing to go to silence the people of this country that are calling them out on their decisions, on how they are plunging public funds, on how they continue to make decisions and that are costing Kenyans. Yesterday, Duale was in court apologizing for defiling a court order. And all he got was, we accept your apology.
Carry on.
Carry on. And so we are living in the reality of nothing has changed. Even the carelessness of government now coming weeks to the Gen Z commemoration to say, now we have money to compensate these families. I mean, how...
Wow.
I mean, how timely for them now to come, as if to just tell us, please take this, keep quiet, don't show up.
We don't have another budget.
And then in the same court, you look at the Rex Masai case. IPOA in court, we all saw that. Did you secure the cartilage? No. Did you secure the bullet? No. So in other words, on one end, government is giving out money. On the other hand, the same government has carelessly handled a whole investigation of the face of our demonstration, who was Rex Masai, and literally telling us this guy is going to walk free and there's nothing you're going to do.
I mean, when you talk about the anniversary tomorrow, Etale, you look at statements that have been made from different quarters. You look at what government agencies are saying, what the cabinet secretary is saying. Everybody is, you might as well go, but, But when you read the Constitution, there is no but. The Constitution says every person has the right to peaceably and unarmed to assemble, demonstrate, to picket, and to present petitions to public authorities. That's all the Constitution says. Etale, when you listen to statements that are coming from government pretty much on where or how this protest should be done, what do you read of it, especially coming from a party that is known for standing for Mwananchi, where Raila Odinga was always on the streets, going there to express himself without the existence of the but that we listen to today?
Yeah, the Gen Zs are tough cookies. they have all the reasons to go out there and demonstrate, but within the precincts of the law, because Article 37 of the Constitution is clear on demonstrations, picketing, and presentation of public petitions to the authorities. It is within the. It is their right. It is within the law that they should do this, especially when they talk about commemorating, remembering their comrades who are felled by police bullet. And during that time, there was a cause. They were demonstrating against the finance bill. And you rightly mentioned about the founding father of our party, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. May his soul continue to rest in peace. He would call people to demonstrate, but with a cause. There was always a reason why he would call people to the streets, and they would listen because there was something they were fighting for, they were agitating for. But now, this commemoration, indeed it is good that they should remember. We should all, as Kenyans, remember victims of police excesses and other forces of brute. But I would say it should be done within the confinements of the law, of the Constitution, because even the police officers who are supposed to provide security are supposed to feel safe when providing that security.
What does it look like that would be safe within the confines of the law? What would a commemoration look like?
When I listen to the president and even the interior CS, Morcom, they said, if you are going to the streets, just go peacefully. Don't carry anything. Don't carry any missile. There are young people who have developed something which it's a new trend. They carry machetes in their jackets.
Is it the young people who people who protest, these machetes that you're speaking about, the people who protest, the people who were shot in the street 2 years ago, the people who were standing and demanding certain things, were they carrying these? Because let's be careful, because I believe the same CS, actually to his credit, said very clearly that protesters are not goons. He said this. So we should be careful not to lump
indeed, my sister, protesters
the infiltrators of these processes then as protesters. So these are not young people, and we should be careful, that Philip, these are not young people who are carrying these weapons with an intent to cause harm.
Actually, all they carry are flags.
Why would they carry the weapons anyway?
Are the people who are protesting the ones who are carrying the weapons? Are the people who are, and this is a question, I'm asking a very clear question. Are the people who are protesting, are demanding for a certain thing, the same ones who are in the crowd carrying weapons?
You see, there's not a single person who can go to the streets with the intention of causing mayhem.
Are the people who are protesting, Philip, the same ones who are carrying the weapons?
There are people who join them with bad intentions.
Exactly.
To infiltrate.
Yes.
And
so it's not a trend, and I think we need to.
There's never been a way.
It's not Philip.
Yes.
It's not a trend of young people to carry weapons like you had initially asserted.
You see, it's a new trend that we have started noticing. That whenever there is a protest, there are some elements.
Okay. You need to clarify that.
The clarification is important.
Who carry weapons
yes,
that they would use to provoke even the security personnel.
Or even the people that they're supposed to be protesting genuinely.
Correct.
Okay, we need to clarify
there's never been a way of vetting protesters. Protesters are never vetted. They pour in the streets, and Snollygoster politicians would be very happy to see people pouring into the streets in large numbers, not knowing that amongst those people, there are elements whose intentions are not good.
Okay, Philip, just to, I want to focus to our true north. I believe no one would want a life lost.
Correct.
No matter what.
Yeah.
We even say criminals should be apprehended and taken to court.
It's within the law.
Correct. So, demonstrations will happen and must happen.
Yes.
Because it is the right of the people to agitate for what they feel the representatives are not dealing with correctly. Because if the National Assembly was echoing the voices of the people would not need to come to the streets. I think we can agree on that.
Sure.
Now, the root cause of demonstrations, especially around the finance bill since the 2024 to now, has been, what we were talking about earlier, the lack of sanitized politics. Because if political parties had ideologies that were reflecting the wishes of the people, today we would not be having the chair of the budget, Atandi, from ODM, and then other MPs from ODM voting no against the same finance bill, members from the same political party. And the same applies to other political parties as well. UDA is a similar case. You have the supporters, Korea is in the budget, but some others were voting no.
Korea is finance.
Finance, yeah, yes. Still the same budget-making process. Now, my point is this. We have to appreciate that picketing, demonstrating, is a democratic right. And it is happening because of the failure of the National Assembly to advance grievances of the people. Having said that, tomorrow, people will, if they so wish, come out and commemorate and even agitate for newer needs if they so wish, because this is their country. No one is above the law. Now, we must run away from profiling the call for demonstration and criminalizing it, that people will be coming out to do harm, when already we have a national intelligence service that has curbed terror activities before they happened. Are they now turning around and saying, if some goons, going by the latest term, are planning to infiltrate peaceful demonstration tomorrow, they cannot stop that? How do we defend that?
And allow me to just say this as well. There is a way we vetted demonstrators on June 25th. On June 25th, there was no property that was destroyed. It was genuine Kenyans that went to the streets, that were even stopping some of their friends that were becoming very angry at the security offices. There is footage. We saw it, and they were saying, no, hatuna shida na polisi. Tumekuja kwa sababu tuna reject finance bill. That was the test of what young people stand for. They went to the streets, and the only building, and they were clear even before they went to the streets, we are coming to Bunge because that house has failed us and that house has refused to listen to us. We have gone to the public participation and said no to this finance bill. That was the only building they reached and breached and destroyed. And they had already communicated that and said we are coming to that house because that house is now a house of highness. Those were the words. They did not destroy any other. Days after that, all of a sudden, like we're saying, goons now started coming over. So young people, young, genuine Gen Zs and millennials, and even boomers that were on the streets that day did not destroy property. They showed up with their flags, water, Colgate, in case of, tear gas, demonstrated, made their voice known, and went home. What happened after that is the culture of goonism that we have experienced. And you cannot convince me this is not being pushed and orchestrated by the state itself. It is in their best interest that property is lost, that things, go haywire, so that they can say, look at this demonizing young people further and telling them your voice doesn't matter and you will know. We will ensure everybody in this society, the business community, the church, everybody does not want to associate with you. And that is why they would even attack a church where public participation for the finance bill is happening. So that now the church can be afraid to engage on constructive conversations.
Zuena, Etale, you've just said that Raila Odinga called for demonstrations for a cause. We talk about the anniversary today that is happening, and that is a cause to remember those who were fell down by police bullets. Yes. Raila Odinga called for Saba Saba that happened way years ago, and he kept on insisting that Kenyans must show up for remembering those that participated in the Saba Saba demonstrations. But today we look at government or speakers who are insinuating that there would be violence. Who told them there would be violence?
Who told you? Thank you.
Who told them there would be violence? Because at the end of the day, the Constitution upholds security agencies to provide security to Kenyans, including demonstrators on the very day. We cannot also sit here and say that we have not seen individuals with batons walking side by side
Police.
to police officers. So when we speak about Kenyans should come out and demonstrate in accordance to the law, Etale, who said that demonstrators are coming to cause violence in any way, in any case? It has been seen that violence only shows up when police show up with their batons and their vehicles ready to fight, not to offer security.
Dennis, would you expect a police officer to go and offer security not fully armed? They should be armed.
Mm-hmm.
That is why they are called police officers and law enforcing officers. So I'm not saying that public picketing is bad. Mm-hmm. But as I said, there should be a cause. Okay, there's a cause. We are commemorating loss of life in 2024 during the Gen Z protests against the finance bill. This year, the commemorations are being held against what backdrop?
Kenyans were killed during 2015.
Dead.
Correct. Now, my sister here says Parliament refused to listen to the cries of Kenyans. And I think looking at the Finance Bill 2026 and the kind of argument that I was watching on television from Parliament, with some members coming up with amorphous clauses that are not even in the bill, trying to whip emotions and excite the public, and incite people to try and say this finance bill is bad, I would say we are losing direction.
Who? Parliament?
As Kenyans.
Okay.
As we go to the streets tomorrow, I expect those who will be demonstrating to carry whatever they said, the conveners of the demonstration said, carry a flower or the flag of the country. Mm-hmm. Just carry it peacefully. Follow the routes that would have provided to the police officers that we are going to use Haile Selassie. We go to Harambe Avenue, we go to Moi Avenue, then we end at this particular place. But if you go to extend that is not specified within the provisions that would have given to the police, then I think that's where the trouble will come.
The Constitution clearly says we're just supposed to notify the police.
You see,
we are not supposed to seek permission from you
or be guided.
The protesters have said we want to go to Parliament to lay a wreath where we were killed.
A lot of people now try to say that we borrow a leaf from the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. Yes, Raila Odinga used to say, and in 2024, he stood and said, if you are demonstrating, you give notice to police, and then you sit down with the police and agree that you are going to start at 6 and end at 5, 6 to 5, then provide routes. It's done all over. And it's a practice.
Etale, do you also realize
you don't just come from
the protesters? The protesters asked Raila Odinga the late to stay home and step away from this modern way of protestation. No, he did not. They rejected him, and they even say they went ahead to say he betrayed them when he joined the broad-based government. A conversation for another day.
I want us to actually take a break and come back and do about 15 minutes or so, because it allows us to delve into this just a little bit more, because I think it's necessary. Yes, all right, it's 9 a.m. We'll be back in a bit. Okay.
The latest news from around. This is the Situation Room